Look at this stare. This is the stare of a man who knows his worth. Somebody who is not gonna take crap from nobody else, and a player whom you should be afraid of. Today we are talking about Philadelphia Flyers prospect Matvei Michkov once more, because yesterday we had ourselves what was probably the most important and career-defining game of Michkov's prospect profile so far. You see, this kind of requires context, so we'll just briefly go over the story here. Matvei Michkov, top prospect, 7th overall guy, should have gone higher, was dropped a little bit because of his uncertainty in Russia. He's a player who is only 18 years old, but who was playing for SKA St. Petersburg last year. Now, he had played in the VHL, SKA Neva St. Petersburg. He also played in the KHL for Sochi, where he was an underage scorer who lit up the KHL. This is unheard of, and he's a prospect that a lot of people can say was sort of in that Bedard territory a few years ago, but who had slipped due to the way that Russian teams developed their players. This year, though, as a member of the SKA St. Petersburg roster, this Philadelphia Flyers prospect was scratched. He was dressed for only one game, and he played 3 minutes in that one game, and the team just really didn't use him properly. For a guy who had 20 points in 27 KHL games last year with HK Sochi, you could understand why it was so aggravating to see the SKA St. Petersburg team not use him, and sort of punish him in a way for being a young prospect whose intent was to go to North America. We had some rumors throughout the offseason saying, oh, Matvei Michkov might be able to get out of his SKA contract, who knows, but for now, he's still a guy who was signed till the end of 2026 with SKA. And because they weren't using him in this season, they loaned him out to Sochi once more. And this year has been pretty good for Michkov, considering that yesterday, before the game that we are going to be talking about, Michkov had 7 points in 7 games played, 3 goals and 4 assists, so very nice to see those numbers. But yesterday, we had ourselves the pinnacle of the crop when it comes to important games in this story. Because he had HK Sochi housing Matvei Michkov as a top player against his former team in SKA St. Petersburg, showing down and playing off to see who made the right choice. And lo and behold, SKA lost. Take a look at this face right here. This is the face of a man who had just defeated his former team that refused to play him and that loaned him out to the inferior HK Sochi. Sochi wins with a score of 5-4. It's the first time SKA has been defeated by Sochi at home in 6 years. And Michkov had 3 points in the game. It took 4 minutes for Michkov to go out there and score a goal, in fact. And it was a really nice one, too, where Michkov feeds the guy out in front by making a brilliant spinning move on the half boards. And then after the player in the middle receives the pass, he goes back to Michkov, who one-times it by the SKA goalie. It's a tie game, 1-1. Give it a little bit towards the middle to ending parts of the game, and you see Michkov post up 2 assists, one of which was absolutely beautiful, where he is the guy on the right side in the power play, just absolutely dipsy-doodling and controlling that right half boards. He eventually gets the puck with some free space and sends it back door for a tap-in. That's the second assist he had in the contest to make it 4-2. And then, of course, Sochi continued pulling their weight, inevitably winning the game 5-4. But now, with this game under wraps, Matvei Michkov has 10 points in 8 games, and this is the funny part, if you took Michkov and you cut him and pasted him from Sochi to SKA, he would be the number 1 guy in points. Now, Galchenyuk would be number 1 for goals. He's got 5 goals in 12 games, but Michkov getting 4 goals in 8 games is a tad better in terms of the goals per game. Michkov would legitimately be one of the top players on SKA had he had the same point production with that team, but of course we know that because of how they refuse to use him, they refuse to play him, they refuse to give him ice time, had he been on SKA, this would not have really been the case had they used him in the same way. This should be known as a big wake-up call, though, to the folks on the coaching staff of SKA St. Petersburg that, yeah, you misused this guy. Your entire purpose of a hockey team is not to develop, it's to win, right? Well, you could do both at the same time for a guy like Matvei Michkov, who has already proven to being phenomenal at the KHL level. He's scoring points, he's setting guys up, he's creating plays, he's making great goals, get on the board, and he is on pace for 71 points in 64 KHL games this season. If you go to the KHL's point production, right now, Matvei Michkov is not near the top. His 10 points in 9 games played, is technically 9 because he played 1 game for Sochi, is in a pretty big tie for 26th in the league. But if you sort by points per game and you go by Matvei Michkov's 1.1, he's just outside the top 10 there. In fact, if you just isolate his HK Sochi numbers, which is 10 points in 8 games played, 1.25 points per game, that puts him up to 6th in the entire KHL. So there you go, Matvei Michkov is doing things as a teenager that we have not seen in this league ever. I mean, the only guy that really comes to challenging these numbers is Ovechkin, right? Like, historically, it is Alex Ovechkin, because when he was a draft +1 player, because he actually played in Russia once more, the lockout caused him to stick around in there for 1 more year. Alex Ovechkin, in his draft +1 season, playing for Dynamo Moscow in the Russian Super League, that's what it was called back then, had 27 points in 37 games played. That points per game number is obliterated by Michkov's HK Sochi production, and Ovechkin had 100 points the next year in the NHL. Now, you could say it's a different era, different league, different game, different players. 100%, I totally agree. Ovechkin is a once-in-a-lifetime talent. Matvei Michkov has yet to prove that to us at the NHL level just yet, but still, just the resume around here, and the circumstances behind this game, wherein Matvei Michkov showed to his old team that he was better than they took him for. That's the poetic storylines that we look for in hockey, isn't it? So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're a Philadelphia Flyers fan, what are your thoughts on the way Matvei Michkov has done in Sochi so far? We've made a few videos just going over the situation, talking about how he's not being used, talking about SKA St. Petersburg, and then of course we made the video about how Michkov went over to Sochi in the first place. But now, this is really paying dividends as being the decision right for his development. Now, if he's able to produce more points than Ovechkin did as an 18-year-old in the KHL, then everything will be forgiven. There is no reason to go out there and continue doubting this guy. You just gotta wait until he comes across the pond into the Philadelphia Flyers system, and there really is no telling how high the ceiling can be. So Flyers fans, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Matvei Michkov and his crazy great game. 3 points against SKA against the team that had benched him and not used him. His points per game is incredible, and he's one of the better players in the entire KHL. Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.